Thank you for coming on the show.
Hey,
And
no
if you don't
problem.
mind,
Thank you
can we
for.
just go ahead? We're just going to go ahead and start all over so we can just get the flow of things going again. Because we got quite
Yeah,
a
that'd
few
be
people. Yeah, we got quite a few people in
that would,
here. So I want to go ahead and do the intro again real quick. And then you're settled. We'll go right into the show and it'll help with the editing as well.
yep, that'd be great. Let's do it. I'm down.
Okay. Okay. Today on The Power of One Voice, we step into raw, unfiltered story of a man who has lived through years of pain, but also fought for redemption. From 13 years of addiction to crack and heroin to 2 years in prison to surviving childhood sexual assault and the chaos of a mother lost to the streets. This is not a story of defeat. It's a story of grit, grace, and transformation. After 18 months of persistence, he was finally adopted and took his, I don't know why that says that. Later in life, he carried the same blessing forward as he adopted his daughter. His perspective shifted, his hope returned, and he learned that attitude truly determined altitude. This is a conversation about pain, survival, and family, and what it means to rise again. Let's talk about it or take a walk because he's got one hell of a story. Welcome, Shane. Now, what's the earliest memory of feeling unsafe and how did that shape you?
The earliest memory would be when I was living in Park Hills. It's right next to Covington. I was like 5 or 6. I mean, it used to be Covington back then, but me and this little kid, his nickname was Doo-Doo. Um, that's funny, dude. He's a funny kid. We ended up breaking a window, and um, well, the cops got called. They had his description and just another white kid. They didn't know who. I was new to the neighborhood, and well, I guess his parents found out where I lived, and they came to my door armed. Him and his mom both. Um, 5, 6 year old kid opening a door up to a big ass weapon like that. Um, I didn't know what to think, what to do. My mom, she was in another room smoking crack with one of her tricks. So I was the one who answered the door.
Wow. Terrifying?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I didn't know what the hell to do. When they finally came out of the back room, yeah, it just went chaotic. All hell broke loose. I mean, luckily nobody was injured, but it could have been bad. I mean,
Yeah,
injured in that way, I should say. Other shit
right.
happened, but
Okay. How did your mom's lifestyle and struggles impact the way you saw yourself as a child?
the abandonment. I remember one time I was in a parking lot. I pulled up in a store parking lot. She was there. She was there with another one of her tricks. Seen us pulled up. She hurried up, hopped in the back seat, and just took off on us. Me and my little brother, or me and my older brother. Um,
Mm,
just the feeling of not being wanted by a parent. Um, I think it affected me. I mean, hell, still sometimes I think about it to this day. You know what I mean? I mean, I wouldn't say that. I would say what she did made me, do all the things that I've done. But
right.
I definitely think it had a major impact on why I became who I was.
Mm, yeah, I can see that. I think a lot of us go through that and feel the same way. When you learned that she had been in prison for 17, when did you learn that she had been in prison for 17 years and how did that sit with you?
Um, I don't remember exactly when I learned, but I was young.
Okay.
I was definitely young when I found out she was in and out of jail. What was the second part of the question?
How did
I'm
that
sorry.
affect you? Like, how did it sit with you? How did it affect you?
I mean, again, just the abandonment, the neglect. Like, why is she choosing that over her own children? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's gotta be
I
rough.
mean, it affected me terribly. Well, yeah, because you hear these other kids talking about their mom and their dad, um, and I'm just sitting there talking about my dad because my mom wasn't around.
Right.
She was always gone. She was always running the streets. She was always doing this, always doing that. So,
Did you ever feel
yeah.
torn between loving her and resenting her?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. 100%. At the end of the day, it's still my mother, right?
Right.
As much as I hated her, I still loved her because that's my mom.
Yeah. How did the sexual assault at 6 years old alter your sense of safety?
I never felt safe anywhere I went, especially with my mom because it happened while I was in her care. It was a friend of hers. I was just always just skeptical about going with her anywhere at all, and I don't know, half the time, I didn't even want to go with her because of that. My brother always wanted to. My brother didn't know, though. My brother didn't know what happened. I've never told nobody until like 2013 was the first time I ever told anybody. Uh, yeah, I was just scared. I didn't even ever want to go with my mom again because how could she allow that to happen to her own child?
Yeah. So she never, did she ever like try to protect you when she did find out? Or was it too late?
I've never told her. So
You've
the night
never
that it
told her.
happened to me, so the night that it happened to me, so the very next morning, I still remember it like it was yesterday. I was in Hamilton, Ohio. Uh, I woke up, I come downstairs, I see my mom sitting on the couch with a big ass black eye. As a kid, I didn't understand, but eventually, I'd grown to ask about that night. And apparently, that same night, she was in the basement getting the same thing I was getting. And she was getting beat and essayed herself. So,
What silence or shame? Well, let me go back. How did you know that was happening to her at that time?
that's what I'm saying. I didn't know. I asked,
Okay.
well, yeah, I didn't know at the time. I just woke up the next morning and I went downstairs. She was on the couch, and I mean, damn near both of her eyes were black. Um, like I said, I didn't understand. So when I grew older, I don't know, maybe 20 years old, I finally asked about that night. She knew exactly which night I was talking about.
Right.
That's when I found out what happened to her.
Terrible. What silence or shame did you carry from that experience?
Oh gosh, I didn't talk. I used to be the shyest kid you've ever met in your life. I didn't talk to nobody. Not even kids. I just kept it in, held it in. I didn't feel safe to talk, be around people, sheltered, really. I ended up isolating myself
Did you hold any guilt with yourself?
with myself. No. Um,
I asked that question because I know a lot of children, they tend to think that it's their fault or it's some type of punishment. I know for myself, I had been sent to my room and somebody showed up in my room, and so that I just thought it was a punishment at 4 years old.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I didn't
no, I
know.
never felt the guilt towards myself. I felt anger towards her. How could she how could she let that happen?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Do you remember the moment that drugs first became an escape for you?
Yeah, absolutely. First time I ever smoked weed, I was 8.
Wow.
Literally, I was 8. I was on it was Covington off of Baker Street. I'll never forget it. It was these two twins, Stephen and Nathan. They were like, I don't know, they were older than me. I think they was already teenagers. And they were smoking. I'm just like, what are y'all doing? You know, this kid, like,
Yeah.
I knew they weren't adults. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, what are y'all doing? You're gonna get in trouble. And they somehow persuaded me to smoke too. And I mean, that was the first time. Obviously, after that, nothing happened until um, I started smoking again at like 12, and then 13 is when I started like the Zans, Valiums, and the shit like that.
Yeah. What role did crack and heroin play in numbing versus destroying?
Damn, that's a good question. Holy shit.
Told you I had some good deep questions.
Yeah. Um. Fuck. Just kept me completely numb. I mean, literally, just from the second I woke up to the time that I was able to go to sleep. Um. Hell, I didn't feel a thing. I didn't feel nothing.
So you'd say it was more numbing than destroying.
And that was my goal, but it definitely destroyed everything for me. It took everything. It took my family. Um, took my home, my car. I was homeless. I ate out of trash cans. I lived on the streets. You name it. I lost it all. But it felt good because I was numb. I didn't feel nothing.
Did you ever believe you'd survive 13 years in addiction, or did you think it would kill you?
Well, the numbing part, seems to make us invincible, right? So being numb all the time, like I'm good. I do this every day. I'll be here for years. You know what I mean? Obviously, that's how I felt in the moment. But thinking about reality, I'm just when's my last time? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Is today going to be the last? Is tomorrow going to be the last? What about this day? It's definitely a thought. I never
right.
cared. I just wanted to be numb.
So let's talk about addiction in prison. What was the hardest part of waking up sick, chasing that next high?
Prison got me sober. Granted, it was in there. When I went in, when I got locked up, the last time, that's when I got sober. But the detox, oh my gosh. When I finally made it out of that detox, I was just like, I'm saved. You know, I couldn't thank God enough for sending me to prison because it literally saved my whole entire life. Um, I literally laid there. Medical was ready to take me to the hospital because I couldn't even stand up. I spent over $100,000 in 3 weeks on my addiction. Um,
Wow.
the crime that sent me to prison, it was a little over $250,000. 100,000 in 3 weeks. So when I got, this is how I know I spent that much. So when I got caught, I literally had like $90,000 left. Um, Obviously, I spent some money on some other things, but most of it was. I mean, I was literally waking up, going and spending 5 grand with the dope boy, like
Wow.
between both. Well, between both of them, the crack and the heroin, 25 and 25 a piece. I would just go
Yeah.
all day long, literally sit there for hours and hours and hours, just IVing that shit, smoking that shit. You know what I'm saying? So when I went to, so when I got locked up, the detox was, oh my gosh, it was terrible. Medical wanted to take me to the hospital because I couldn't even get up. That's how I just was no energy. Couldn't keep nothing down. Hell, I couldn't even make it to the toilet. Like that's how bad it was. I ended up shitting on myself. I ended up pissing on myself. I couldn't get up. I couldn't get up. I had no energy. Like literally, as soon as I would get up, try to get up, I couldn't get up. First of all, was without somebody's help. Second of all, when I did get up and they would let go of me, I'd literally just straight collapse. I couldn't even stand up. That's how bad it was.
Wow. How did prison compare to the prison you were already living in with the addiction?
Felt like freedom.
Wow.
Really, it did. But besides the fact that I was behind the fence, you could still roam and do whatever you please. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just limited options, obviously. But once you get into a routine, it's just like, okay, this is just everyday life. But it was freedom to me. I had some of my best laughs in prison. Literally, some of the best laughs I've ever had in my entire life were in prison.
Wow. Were there moments behind those walls that broke you or built you?
I say a little bit of both.
What built you?
Uh, the fact that I went in there with nobody, came out with nobody, um, ended up building, it just taught me you have to do this regardless of who you have in your corner, literally.
Yeah.
Um, and that was just the mindset that I got out of prison with. When I got out, I ended up with 2 jobs within a. I stayed with some friends for a while, just relaxing, getting out of prison, trying to get my mind right. Because when you get released, when you do so much time and you get released, life is just different. You know what I mean? Like I didn't even want to be in public. Like I didn't want to go around nobody. It was just completely. I don't know. It was different. I don't know. I guess it's just something you got to live through to understand. Um, but after staying on some people's couches for I don't know like 3 weeks, I went into a sober living and I got 2 jobs within a week. And then once I got my second job, I started that the next day. In between those 2 jobs, the next 196 days straight, between those 2 jobs, I did not take one day off. I had my own place in
Wow.
3 weeks. I had my own place in 3 weeks, my own car in 3 weeks. Like I was on a mission. You know what I mean? Not having nobody, it'll destroy you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you don't got nobody, when it's just you really don't have nobody that you can just call upon. You gotta walk the yard every single day and just literally hold that shit in.
Right.
You can't be, you know what I mean? You can't show emotion in there. You can't be viewed as weak in there. You know what I mean? You gotta maintain this persona and this image, or you
Yeah.
become a target. You know what I mean? So you just, I mean, it was hard until I'd say for real about I'd say the last 8 months I signed up for IOP because I knew I was getting out around after the time I would complete IOP. Um, but between those 4 hours a day with some other good convicts, uh, hell, I think every one of us cried a couple days a week in that damn class.
Right.
I mean, so that definitely helped.
Okay. How did your sense of identity shift in those 2 years?
Go from a piece of shit to an unrecognizable, changed person. Uh, Everything was just different for me. My goals, my morals, just everything I stood for back in the day. I didn't really stand for nothing other than loyalty and respect. You know what I'm saying? Anything outside of those two, it didn't matter to me. Um, but it all changed.
Shane,
You know, being
can you turn your camera on and then turn it back, or turn your camera off and turn it back on? They're saying they can't see you.
can't see me. What's it doing?
I don't know. So Ashley in the comments said they can't see your face. All right, how's
I know
that?
there's
Can
this thing in
everybody?
front of me. That that sticker.
And I don't understand. It's see on my screen, it was covering your name, which
Now it's in
is
front of your face.
there we go. How's that? Is that better?
Perfect.
Okay. Yeah, see on my screen, it was just covering your name on the bottom.
Oh
It's
wow.
crazy how it was covering your face. That's weird. And on the when I upload it, it's not going to show that sticker at all. Thank you for pointing
Oh,
that
that's
out.
cool.
What small acts of humanity in prison helped you hold on?
The fact of being around violent people, violence every day. Uh, Even though being around all that, the people that weren't violent, the people that weren't in there for violence or wanted to partake in any violence, there was some decent people in there. And I don't know, a couple of them I'd have conversations with, and I'd learn a lot from them. And just, them telling me, them expressing, some things that they've been through and how they cope with life. And, just a one on one in a fucked up place. Showing care and concern for somebody younger than them. What they would say is their younger self, is what
Yeah,
most of them would say. I see my younger self in you. Um, just giving me knowledge on how to not live my whole life in prison. That's
yeah.
that's that's really what kept me going there. Really, that.
Okay.
But other than that, my kids, knowing that I got kids at home waiting on me.
Yeah, that always helps. Let's talk about fatherhood and family healing. What did fatherhood awaken in you that nothing else could?
Hmm. What did fatherhood awaken in me that nothing else could? Oh gosh. Should have prepared for this one. Uh, I mean, back then, being I had my first child when I was already in addiction. Um, so at the time, being numb the way that I was, I didn't even really understand what fatherhood was, to be honest, until I
Yeah,
got sober. But I mean, back then, nothing. Now, just especially with the crazy world that we live in, a sense of protection. I wish I'd have been protected the way that I am, overprotected from my children. You know what I mean?
okay.
Like,
Yeah,
especially with, especially with what happened to me as a child. You know,
you're like
I just don't want my kid
hypersensitive
going through that.
now.
Ooh, especially
Like
with three
hyper,
girls.
yeah, I get it. I had three daughters myself. How did the process of adopting your daughter test your patience and faith?
Just, um, I just felt like it took the test of my patience, honestly, and my faith was honestly, so we didn't let nobody know until, we got the lawyers involved. We didn't speak about it, didn't tell nobody, um, because both of us being ex-addicts and ex-convicts, uh, we had very high doubts that it was possible for us. And so did everybody else as well.
Right.
And, that didn't help. But I just, I stayed faithful the way through. You know what I mean? I just prayed, like, save me. You know what I'm saying? Like, give me
Hmm.
something. And I don't know, he answered.
Okay. How did the process of adopting your, oh, read that one. When you finally heard that she was going to carry your last name, what did that moment feel like?
One of my happiest moments in life. Um, One, because a person like me is getting to adopt a child. And not only am I getting to adopt the child's taking my last name. Um, the level of excitement. I just don't think I'd ever be, I don't think I'd ever share that again, honestly. Uh, I don't know if there'd be anything that would amount up to that for real.
Awesome. How has your relationship with your mother evolved now that she's part of your children's lives?
Well, she was a big part of them. I say here in the last year, she's ventured off. Don't know what she's doing, don't know where she's at, don't hardly talk anymore. Um, I'd like to think she's remaining sober, but honestly, I don't know. I don't talk to her like that anymore. We were close when I first got out of prison. Me and her, um, we got close after a while, and all of a sudden, she don't even call her grandkids no more.
Oh, wow. How's that affect them?
They don't care. They're kids. Their life's still going on. You know what I mean? They're still
Yeah.
being kids. School, all their daily activities, the playing and all that stuff. I don't think it's bothering them. I mean, it may when they get old. Well, at least for my youngest, it don't. My middle child, her mother. Oh gosh, that's a whole nother story. Her mother's kind of kept her away from my side of my child's mother of that child. She's kind of kept my kid away from my family for whatever reason.
Okay. What boundaries did you need to create with your children? Sorry. What boundaries did you need to create? Sorry. What boundaries did you need to create to keep your children safe while you were rebuilding a relationship with her?
You mean my mother?
Hmm.
Um, just I mean, she's always trying to be there, but the in and out, coming in and out, in and out, in and out of somebody's lives, that could have a major impact on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just If I see you giving up and you don't want no part in it, I'm not gonna go out of my way for you.
Right. I
If
get
you don't want
that.
to see your grandkids, if you don't want to see your grandkids, I'm not gonna beg you to see them. I'm not gonna beg you to be a part of your own grandchildren's lives.
I get that. Recovery and transformation. At what point did recovery stop being about not using and start being about living?
I'd say maybe like 2 years after I got out of prison, honestly. Granted, I did get sober in prison. Yes, it was still in there. Plenty had access. Hell, the dude in my cell was selling the shit. Um, but probably 2 years after I got out, because coming out in the real world, knowing it's cheaper than what it was in prison, knowing the access of it, if I can use and not get in trouble. I use in prison, I could get in trouble, go to the hole for 6 months, all this goofy shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
After 2 years of just really just building my life and finding comfort in other things, such as family and just being adventurous, finding new things that I never knew I liked. Um, I don't know, I just half the
almost
time,
like
most of the time,
rediscovering
it's like
yourself.
kind of, yeah, absolutely. Well, that's what it was, honestly. When I first got out of prison, I got out with nothing. Literally, I didn't have an ID, social, birth certificate, no place to go. I had no clothes, no phone. Literally, I had nothing other than $75 that the prison gave me in this shit-colored brown sweatsuit that they release you in. That's the only things that I possessed upon my release.
Yeah.
Um, And honestly, I just looked at that like it was the greatest thing of my life. Literally, it's a brand new start. Who am I? Find out who Shane is. And it's kind of what I've been doing still to this day.
What perspective did you gain from your darkest days and that you now see as a blessing?
Even all the pain that I endured, there's power behind it. I mean, that's a tough question too. Say it one more time.
What perspective did you gain from your darkest days that you now see as a blessing?
That even though I used to be a piece of shit, I felt like I was still a good person. At least at heart. Even though I was doing a lot of fucked up shit to people. People could still call me if they needed something, and I had it, I got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But I was a piece of shit. I was still a good person. Just being kind-hearted when I feel like I needed to, and I don't know, just all the pain I endured, I'm turning into power, I guess, wisdom, change lives. Hopefully, that's the goal.
that is the goal. Do you think trauma ever fully heals, or does it become something you learn to walk with?
I'd like to think it can be healed, um, but I feel like no matter what, it's always going to be there deep down inside. So we just learn to walk with it.
Right.
Obviously, it does get easier over time, but it's still there.
Yeah.
Any situation could bring up, those memories or
Yeah,
those
trigger something.
you know what I mean. So yeah, I mean, at least for me, I've learned to walk with it, but that's
I
why
think
I
a lot
speak
of
out
us, I
because
was gonna say, I think a lot of us learn to walk with it, and then we end up doing this kind of stuff. That we try
absolutely.
to educate other people and teach them how to deal with it. And I think because we've learned how to heal, and we may not always be healed, but we're learning.
Right,
Um,
absolutely.
how, go ahead.
No, I was just saying absolutely.
How do you handle triggers differently today than you did in your past?
Oh gosh, and I just feel like I'm so. Excuse me. I feel like I'm so far into it. The triggers are just at a bare minimum. You know what I mean? 'Cause back then it didn't matter what it was. Any trigger, I'm
There's a
down.
reason.
Let's go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now it's just like, man, I'm good.
What daily practices keep you grounded in sobriety?
You said what daily practices?
Hmm.
First and foremost, my faith. I mean, without God, none of this is possible, and I firmly believe that. Um, and I practice getting closer to Him day by day. I never really used to be a person of God. I grew up in churches. My addiction pulled me away. With all the deaths and all the nasty ass shit that I've seen because of my addiction. It's just like there's just no way. There's no way God allows this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd say faith is by far my biggest every single day. I practice to get closer and closer.
Okay. Faith, strength, and grace. What role does faith or a higher power play in your healing?
Huge. Um, Pray every day, literally, before I even get out of the bed. Be with me, guide me, lead me, the courage to get up, say no if needed. I try to use, I don't always, obviously, but I try to use my faith, for just about anything I do today.
Okay.
Um, with God approve of what I'm doing today, whether it's, I see somebody at the gas station being rude to somebody, would God want me to either stand up for the person that's being treated like shit, or would God want me to say something to the person? You know what I'm saying? That's
It's getting a
going
little hard to
faster.
hear you.
Yeah, no, I'm outside. It's traffic. I was just giving an example. Like, let's just say somebody's being treated like shit at a gas station.
Hmm.
Would God want me to step in, or would God just want me to just let the situation be?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. We'll skip the next question because you answered that. Um, how has grace shown up in your life in unexpected ways?
I mean, the main one is honestly the adoption. With God's grace, I was able to do that. Something I've never even thought, spoke, never. The word adoption never even, meant nothing to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it was just literally. The word was not even in my vocabulary at all, whatsoever. Um, but when the opportunity came about, she's like, how? Why me?
Yeah.
How me? How? You know what I mean? And it's God's grace. And
So what
that's
kind of trials did you have to go through in order to adopt?
financial burden. Um, you're trying to do something for a child, and it's literally, you still got to pay thousands for it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? You're literally you're trying to give a child a life, but they're going to make you pay thousands for it. That was one, just a financial burden about it. Um, all the negativity we got from trying to do it simply because of our past. Like I said, she's an ex-addict. I'm an ex-addict.
Right.
She's done time. I've done time. Um, the shit that it blows my mind. I mean, one comment was, hell, he shouldn't even be allowed to adopt a stray cat, let alone a child.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's fucked up. It's fucked up. But yeah, so just all the negativity we had to deal with while trying to do something good. Um, Big problem. Well, it wasn't a problem. We kept going, but just the fact that, I mean, you would think people would support that, right?
Right.
Regardless of your background, regardless of who you are, when people see that you've changed, why wouldn't they support that?
I'm so sorry about the background noise. Just one second.
You're good. You're good. I'd be alright. It'd be alright.
Um, what do you say to yourself when shame tries to creep back in?
When what?
Shame tries to creep back in.
I just compare my life to what it used to be like. I look at my life today compared to back then. And it's just like, how does shame even fit in anymore? You know what I
Right.
mean? Honestly, that's just how I look at it. How there's just no reason for shame to even fit in anymore.
Legacy and hope. Sorry about that. My daughter's picking up her kids.
Oh, you
Um,
good?
what do you most want your children to know about who you are beyond your past?
The truth about everything. No secrets.
You think you'd
Because
be
if there's
honest with them about your
secrets,
addiction?
oh, absolutely, I would. 100%. I don't want nothing to surprise them later in life. For instance, let's just say they're at school with an enemy of mine's child, and they hear stories and they try to throw it in my kid's face. Uh, prepare them for it, because I'm sure they're going to hear it no matter what. So, absolutely, I'd tell them everything, 100%. I wouldn't hold nothing back.
Okay,
That way I can prepare them. That way I can prepare them for when shit like that does happen, because I'm sure it's going to happen.
for sure.
I'm sure. I'm 100% positive it's gonna happen. I wish it wouldn't, but in today's
Well,
world,
people are just so
it's
awful
happening.
sometimes. Um,
Absolutely.
what's the biggest lesson addiction taught you about love?
That when you're down bad, this is how I felt. This is how I felt in my addiction compared to how I feel now. When you're down bad, everybody turns your back on you. At least that's what you feel in your addiction. Um, Now, I get it. I understand why. It was, them sticking around and giving me their love would just enable me. It would drive me to continue. It wouldn't drive me to change. You know what I mean? Um,
Right.
they turned their back. They turned their back on me. Um,
Thank you for
yes, I
that.
resent them. I resent them in the process, but they turned my back on me. You know, Maybe that'll push me to get myself together, to earn their love, their unconditional love back.
What?
I
Um,
don't even know if I answered the question, to be
no,
honest.
you
Did
answered
I
the
even
question
answer that?
just fine. I've got little ones running in and out of the door. I've got other ones asking me for car keys, and they know they're not supposed to battle to me during this time. You'll have to look for my car keys. I have no idea where they're at. Okay. What does it mean for you to live authentically, unmasked, unashamed, and unafraid?
At peace.
Okay.
There's nothing. There's nothing that can trip me up in a conversation. There's nothing that I have to divert a conversation around because I'm being authentic. You know what I'm saying? I don't
Right.
have to cover nothing up. I don't. Eventually, you lie, you cover that lie up with another lie. Then it's a domino effect.
Absolutely.
So just being that, having no mask, you don't even have to worry about it.
Yeah.
And then the conversation will just flow just naturally, and there's no roadblocks in a conversation. Because people can sense. I know I can. People can sense, being uncomfortable in a conversation because, now what do I got to come up with? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to. I don't see no point in. I just don't see no point in hiding anything anymore. Hell, it's all out there anyways. Why
Right.
not? Why not tell the real story, not the rumors that everyone else is spreading?
Absolutely. If you could speak to your 13-year-old self, what would you say?
Listen to the older, wiser people. They tell you things for a reason. I never understood that then, and I do now, 100%. And I said this earlier to somebody. When I was a kid, we still had, the older generation. They were still living by the traditional values. You know what I'm saying? I just find traditional values and honor them and live by them.
Right. What message do you have for someone sitting in the dark thinking they'll never climb out?
I was there. I never thought I was going to get out, at least at some point. Um, that it's okay. But at some point, You're playing with your life every time you use, especially these days, with all the shit that's in everything. You're literally, it's a gamble every single time. 50% chance you might live, 50% chance you might not. You know, if you
Right.
want to gamble with your life, go ahead. But if you want to get, if you're tired of it, just come, grab my hand. I'll walk you through it. I'll walk with you the whole way through. As long as you fight for you, I'll fight for you. But I'm not going to fight for you if you're not going to.
Right. What part of your story still feels hardest to What part of your story still feels hardest to speak out loud, even today?
Um, hmm. Probably situation with my father.
Dad, why out here?
I'm busy.
Dada,
What?
get over the sand.
I'll be done in a minute. Go inside. Why ain't you dressed? What the hell's the matter with you, kid? Go get some clothes. Come on.
A kid.
Come on, Mom. Let's go get some clothes.
I'm a kid though.
You're a kid?
Yeah.
Well, I know that.
I'm
Watch
a
out, there's
kid.
a bee by you. There's a bee. There's a bee. Come on. Look, right here. See him behind you now. All right, come on. Go inside. Take your cat inside. Come on.
Come on.
See, you can't be loud with him. Sorry, y'all. Hold on 1 second. Go get clothes. Clothes. And then you can come outside. Get some clothes on, you can go jump. Alright, my bad. I'd say a situation with my father, because he died when I was locked up. Got locked up December 7th. They give you one free phone call. Huh?
We scooped them the room.
Okay, I'll be in there. Go get some clothes. Okay, I'll come in there. Okay. I got locked up December 7th. You get one free call. And he's the one that I called. I don't know. I never called my dad from jail. Never in my life. What? What?
Your dad was my pillow.
Yes, he was. Where's he at?
He's in heaven.
You're smart.
Hey, Dada, we just poop.
Okay, I'll go get it. Come on. Yeah, probably my dad. Never called him from jail. Went to jail December 7th. Called him on a free phone call.
He's pooped away.
He ended up passing on the 18th
He pooped
of
away.
December. Literally 11 days later. Literally 11 days later.
Sorry about that.
You know, I don't know what made me call him. I don't know why I called him. I don't. Where? Oh. I don't know why I called him. I've never called him from jail. Literally, not one time. Not never. Oh, he was my dad was my rock too.
Let's do some. Come on, Dad.
He's like,
There's some right there.
where? Dog. Alright, get some clothes and you can come outside and jump.
This is so bad.
Yes, he is. I agree. So are you.
I'm getting
Close.
open.
Okay, go find him. He's in there.
Hear me?
No. Close. Alright, my bad. Yeah, I get a call, or the guards come and wake me up at like 2:33 in the morning. I thought my dad was healthy. You know what I mean? They come and wake me up at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning and say, call your brother. If they come and wake you up in the middle of the night like that, tell you to call somebody, then, it's a family death or something severely bad. I called him. My dad he was already on life support. So they put me in a one-man cell for a while, just to be cool, I guess. But I called back at, 8 o'clock to figure out what decision that they've made. And it was like, well, the doctor said, there's a surgery, but it's a 95% chance that he would bleed out. But I'm like, but yeah, there's still 5% chance that he won't.
Right.
So we ended up talking for a little bit, and eventually made the decision over a fucking jail phone to pull the plug on my father. Telling him goodbye. Telling my dad goodbye was the hardest shit that I ever had to do.
Does she got anything?
It's just like, why did I call him December 7th? You know what I'm saying? Like, I've never called my dad from jail. Never. But why did I call him that time? You know what I'm saying? And then he dies 11 days later. That's the hardest really I struggle with, because my dad, I didn't get to see him get buried. I wasn't there, making that call on the jail phone to pull the plug. I talk about anything these days without fucking getting emotional. But when I talk about that, ooh, boy.
I can tell it still affects you.
Fucked up over it.
Can
Absolutely.
I ask how many years ago?
2016.
My dad passed in 2010. So I know he had cirrhosis. How did carrying unspoken pain affect your relationship before you found healing?
Not being able to talk to relationship with who?
Any relationships?
Not being able to talk to your partner. You know what I mean? They should be the person that you can put your burdens on, right? They're supposed to be that person. Not being able to do that. It gives them a hard time. Why don't you trust me to talk to me? You know what I mean? And really, it's more or less that I've spoken to people about, shit
I'm
in
sorry,
the
we can hardly
past.
hear. I can hardly hear you.
Um, you know, it might be a little better back here.
I think when you're setting the phone down, it's covering the microphone or something.
Oh, is that what it's doing?
Yeah, there. I can
How's
see
that
that. I
sound?
can way better.
Like, really what stopped me from doing that was, I have shared personal shit with people, and, when we get into a fight, it's thrown in my face. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
that's more or less what really pulls me away from a deeper level with certain people. Uh, I mean, it does. It has an effect on the relationship a lot.
Yes.
They're looking at like, why don't you trust me? Why don't put your burdens on me? This is what I'm here for, and you don't do that, and then they start doubting you, and it tears the whole relationship apart.
Yeah, I get it. Recently just had somebody do that to me in my life. Um,
Oh man.
how do you fear, what do you fear most about the future, and how do you fight that fear?
What I fear most is my kids getting into addiction.
Mm.
Um, Dealing with it, not really dealing with it yet. I mean, as far as like, I just pray to God, give them strength and courage to say no. Especially it's just not what it was back when I was using. You just don't know what's in the shit. And
Right.
that's my biggest fear is them getting into addiction the way that it is now.
Yeah. And probably only going to get worse the older they get.
Exactly.
What does breaking the cycle mean to you in terms of your children's lives?
Breaking the cycle in terms of my children. Well, I was the black sheep of the family. Literally the only one in my family that. Well, I mean, I guess my dad, he was an alcoholic, but I mean, as far as and my mom, but like my family, anybody else besides us, nobody else done anything. You know what I mean? Um, Obviously, my parents didn't break the cycle; they passed it down to me. You know
Right.
what I mean? Um, Part of me, part of this is, going back to that question, are you going to be truthful with your kids about everything?
Hmm.
And, hopefully that truth keeps them away from
Right.
going down that road, and hopefully that helps break that cycle. Obviously, once they're grown, they can do whatever they want. Um, when they don't see nothing, they don't hear nothing about what it does to people, then they're curious. Like, I can do this. Nothing's gonna happen. You know what I mean? When you tell them about it, okay, well, my dad did this, and this is what happened to him. Maybe that'll turn them away from it. So
Absolutely.
hopefully, my truth will break that cycle.
Okay. What truth did you once run from and now you stand on with pride?
What truth did I run from? Stand on with pride. Oh gosh, that's a that's a good question. What do I choose? Oh my goodness. I'm trying to think. I wasn't ready for that one. Good lord. That's like a punch in the mouth. Really? Holy shit. Wake up, Shane. Um, oh my gosh. You got me stumped here. What truth did I run from? I stand on with pride now. Being myself. I used to run from. So I used to present an image. Um, kind of, I had an image to present. And if I didn't live up to that image, what do these people think of me?
Right.
Uh, I had to be one of the meanest, baddest people in my neighborhood. That's the image that I walked with. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
No, I'm good. I don't even care about it. You know what I mean? And I stand on who I am today. I used to think I was somebody I wasn't, and
Okay.
it took me down. It took me down the path it took me down, trying to be somebody I wasn't. So now I'm just myself, and I definitely stand on that 100%.
Okay. So your authentic self.
Absolutely.
How do
I used to
you?
run from being. I used to run from trying to, being nice or, being kind to people. You know what I mean? In the neighborhood we lived in, wasn't a lot of kindness. It was fights every day, shootings every day. I didn't want to live that lifestyle, but I pushed myself to act like I did.
Right.
So that's the life that I chose, and that wasn't the authentic life for me. You know what I'm saying? So what I do now is this is who I am. This is what I want, and I'll stand on it till the day that I die.
Okay. How do you measure success today compared to who you were when you were in addiction?
Success wasn't anything I ever thought about in my addiction. You know what I mean? What is success? Some people see it as, being financially free. Of course, that is one, but, more money, more problems, right?
Right.
Um, I'm not saying I'm content, because I'll never be content, but, a good job, good life, house, kids, family, whatever, I'm okay with it.
Okay.
That's my success.
Yeah. That's all we can do, though. You know,
That
one day at
wasn't
a
it.
time.
Back then it wasn't. Back then it wasn't goals for me. None of this was a goal for me. You know,
Right.
at least in my addiction, it wasn't.
Okay. What does it mean to stay rare to you?
Being authentic. A lot of people just think they're real selves anymore, or they're lying, or they got this image to present, or a persona to walk by or to live by. Just just being your true, genuine, authentic self at all times, no matter who you're around. Oh shit. Them
Okay.
dogs scared the fuck out of me. The neighbor had dogs, there wasn't nobody over there, and the next thing, two of them just growled, scared the shit out of me. Yeah, everybody's doing different things these days, and whether they like it or not, they do it. You know what I mean? Do what. I don't know. Nobody has. It just seems like nobody lives by codes or morals or anything these days. You know what
Right.
I mean? And
Absolutely.
so when you find yourself, you start living with morals. So just literally just being your true, genuine, authentic self,
Okay.
like to the core. No, no wishy-washy shit. All the way, 100%. Nothing else.
I get it. I get it. That was our last question. So I'm going to read the outro. I got some resources, and then I'm going to let the chat ask some questions.
Okay.
This story reminds us that even in the ashes, there's a chance to rise again. One voice, spoken in truth, rawness, and grace, has the power to save not just the person speaking, but those listening in silence. To anyone struggling with addiction, trauma, or shame, you're not alone. Healing is possible and your voice matters. Attitude determines altitude. And today we've seen what hope looks like when it refuses to quit. I've got some resources. I can never pronounce this word. SAMHSA helpline. 1-800-622-662-HELP. That's SAMHSA helpline. 1-800-662-HELP. RAIN, Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network. 1-800-656-HOPE. Again, that's 1-800-656-HOPE. And the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 988. And also your local recovery meetings and support groups, AANA and Smart Recovery. Okay, Chad, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and proceed with your questions. You can see the chat, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to go potty. I'll be right back. So if anybody has any questions you're so welcome. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask at this time.
No problem. No problem at all. Thank you. I appreciate everybody that came and stayed for the whole thing. Appreciate y'all for real, from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate y'all. Says a lot about y'all, man, for real. Let's go. I love y'all, man. I love y'all, man, for real. This wouldn't be possible without y'all. You know? Wouldn't be possible without y'all, man.
Okay, sorry about that.
Don't look like anybody has any questions.
Nobody has questions? Oh, okay.
Don't look like it. Nobody's asked nothing yet, anyways.
Really?
Nope.
How would you help a 24-year-old man in denial about having a drinking problem?
And unfortunately, there's no helping that.